the rider have the reins and have the stirrups to begin with, and walk around on the leather. And the walk is a 4-beat gait, so there's never a moment when there isn't a foot on the ground. There's always a foot on the ground in the walk. So there's no period of suspension, okay? And that's why it's hard to keep the walk forward, because a period of suspension is sort of what suspension and forwardness is made of. So the walk doesn't have that, so you have to head towards the barn when you're on a trail ride to get that forwardness. But because of that, Regis's seat gets pulled forward and back and side to side. So all 4 ways the hips get pulled around in the walk in a very subtle little way, and it warms up the hips if you let it. But a lot of people get on and hold themselves still, and they don't get warmed up with the walk. So you always want to relax and let the horse move your hips around in the walk. And when I was looking to buy horses in Holland, I thought it was incredibly interesting because they made us walk, their horses for 10 minutes, which is a long time, before we could even trot. And I thought about it, and I thought, they probably do that. I'm not sure consciously, but unconsciously, they're doing that because they know that then your seat is going to be more warmed up, and it's going to be better for the horse. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's always about the horse. They don't care about you, even though you got the money. They don't care. All right. So let's go ahead and do a little rising trot. You're out 1 feet. Until your legs tense up. No, they tensed up a long time ago. Nope, you've already tensed them up. Nope, you've probably already tensed them up. Lean forward. Okay. Any more than that, you're going to tense up. Okay? All right. Now lean back until they tense up. Go slow and feel it. Okay, I think you're probably at the edge of where you're going to tense up. But you were forward of where you needed in other words, when I said go forward, you could only go forward a teensy bit. You were already at the front of where you can go. And then when you went back, you had a little more room with where you can sit without tensing up your legs. So her balance, if you have to tense up your legs, that means you have to hold on, okay? If you can go back without tensing up your legs, then you're still in your balance place. You're still balanced, okay? So now, very, very small to the side, one side or the other. And you see how that is really small. And then go to the other way. So that gives her an idea of how, and that's actually a lot, of room where you can bounce around and be okay. You're in the balance. You don't have to hold on. But it's small. It's a small amount in the big picture. And it gets smaller. The amount that you can fool around with that gets smaller as the horse gets more collected. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, so the bubbling spring, okay? Now, if you just think of a bubbling spring there, it kind of gives you that feeling of, I don't know, lightness and energy. And we want this bubbling spring foot to have a relationship where she can take her stirrup forward with her foot, take her stirrup back, take her stirrup out. She can do whatever she wants with the stirrup. Instead of being engrossed with her relationship with the horse and ending up losing her stirrup or having a less secure relationship with it. And a lot of people have this jam down heel relationship, which they also lose because they're jamming their heel down and then bringing their leg up because they're trying to make the horse canter or something, and then they don't have the stirrup. So we want this relationship, and we want a feeling of the knee dropping down, like kneeling type dropping down, and from the front of the knee down the front of the boot is dropping down into that bubbling spring. So all of you, sit on the edge of your chair for a moment and bring your feet in close enough to you so that you can just lift yourself up and stand without the chair. Nope, we're not going to stand, sorry. We're going to be like crushed, like me. Yeah. And so that position is where you're balanced, okay? And a lot of us had to sit back down and bring our feet in closer, right? Yeah. So we have to make sure, and in that picture, with the position picture, you see how, because in a balanced seat, we would draw a line from her ear, through her shoulder, through her hip bone, okay? And then we got to hit her heel. But in that picture, you see how they want it even farther in front of the heel? And I agree with that. And Regis will be happy with that. Regis always keeps her leg too far back. But well, too far back for the classic, but not too far back for me. Okay, so ear, shoulder, hip bone, and then we're going to have this leg be somewhere right about in here. Okay? And Regis thinks her leg is short, so she rides a hair too long.
Actually, this one needs to be shorter. the other one feels okay, but this one doesn't need to be shorter. I think they're uneven. Yeah.
They are on that
They
side.
are, yeah.
Okay, that's why.
One or two?
Whole, I think.
One?
Yeah. I'm sorry. See if you like that better.
Better?
Yeah.
That's very good.
Okay.
I don't ever ask questions or stuff with curious.
See?
So I have somebody riding stuff and going to say, here's how you get around that. And then
Okay. All right, so everybody gets the idea of the balanced position, and you can see that on your thing out here. And isn't that a cool picture at the bottom of that page where the skeleton of the person is on the skeleton of the horse? I think that's very, very interesting too. For us to really realize how little there is of structural support for us where we sit on the horse. Yeah, they weren't really built for this. I mean, it worked out okay, but only because we're asking them to carry themselves more on their hind end than they were originally built for. They were built for front end carrying. We ask them to carry more behind, which they have to in order to carry because if his center of balance is here, right behind his shoulder, she's sitting completely behind, not over his center. So he has to move his center back in order to support her comfortably and safely without, like that, Okay, so any comments about that? Now, Regis is a pretty even rider, but I'll show you something about Regis. When I take this out here and I say, say, okay, Regis, now you hold your leg out here. She has to tighten up out here. You feel that place? And it wants to cramp, yes? Yeah. And so we tell that place not to cramp. And then we say to her, okay, now relax that part that wanted to cramp when you did hydrant. Relax that part. And that's what opens up her seat and allows the horse to be there. Okay? And the same thing on the other side. So for me, it's always harder on my less dominant side, but I'm tighter on my dominant side. And so is she. So are most people. All right, now you were saying that there was something that you were concerned about? No? No? So you're happy with your position?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, and in general, yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, my issue I'm finding is my mid-back gets tight, mid-right back.
Okay.
And I feel that, I'm thinking it's the diagonal is my left hip. If I'm thinking I get tight in my left groin,
Yep.
and I get tight in my right mid-back.
Okay. So drop your stirrups. All right, and let's do a little trot. Sit in trot. Let those legs hang down. A little longer. Yeah, good. So we want her to allow the boots to fall off, okay? And we want her to hang the leg from the hip joint enough so that we can see the motion of the horse in her leg. Because it doesn't do us any good that she's still in comparison to the wall. We need her to learn to absorb the motion of the horse in all her joints to the point, which is going to mean bouncing around and letting go and bouncing around and letting go until her body starts to look still because it's doing the same exact thing as the horse. And that takes a little bit. Like, I'm an incredibly loose rider. I don't know if you could tell that when I was riding. Did you tell that?
Yeah. Well, actually today, no.
Yeah.
Certainly, yes.
But I'm so loose that oftentimes when I'm getting taught by people, they're telling me, tighten up! But I believe that you need to get loose enough first to really absorb the horse's motion before you decide what you're going to hold. And basically the only thing I really hold is my core. And that I don't even think about. And all riders who ride a lot have a strong core. I've never seen anybody who rides a lot who goes into a yoga class and doesn't matter if they've ever done yoga before. They're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff in yoga because of their core strength. The other wonderful thing about health-wise about riding, two things. One is that the back, that everything is equal, left and right. Whereas in golf, everything is one side, and in tennis, everything is one side. You know, most sports are one-sided. Riding is not. So that's really good for our bodies. And the other thing is that once you pass 25, approximately, your spine stops having circulation without exercise. So in Germany, they did this whole thing where they put people with back problems, as long as they x-ray clean, they put them on horses and bounce the spine, like her spine is getting bounced here. All right, back to the wall. And with amazing results for getting rid of pain in the back because of letting, it's exciting the circulation in the spine again, like when you were younger. for a second? So I can just talk a little bit about this problem that Regis is. All right, off you go. All right, so hold right around there. And you guys over there, you might have to come over here to see. So we want to look at Regis from behind, okay? All right, now the first thing that we're going to see is that the horse, fairly drastically, is dropping the saddle off to the right. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the horse, okay? Now, so what does that do to Regis's seat?
Pitches her hip to the right.
Hips to the right?
Well, yeah, if she's dropping off to the right, then her hip is going off to the right.
No, look at the
right?
saddle. Is the saddle farther to the right on Regis or farther to the left?
Right.
It's farther to the right. Her right seat bone is hogging the saddle. Got it?
Right.
Okay. Now she's complaining about pain in the right mid-back. What's happening in her right mid-back? Which way is she having to lean here? Left. Why is she having to lean left? Because her hips have gone to the right. She has to lean left to make up for it, okay? Because if she leans right, she's falling off, okay? So she leans a little bit left, all right? Now, we're going to ask her, with her right leg, to bring his back up a little on the right. Just ask him, don't let him walk away, but ask him to bring his back up on the right. Good boy.
I can
Little
see
bit.
from here.
Good boy.
Yeah.
All right, so you see, he was a good boy, right? He did exactly what she asked. And now, just a teensy bit more upreach with his back. Now, you see how the saddle is almost in the middle, right? But where's her seat still?
Right.
Still hogging the saddle with the right seat bone. Okay, so Regis, keep asking him to bring his back up on the right, but move your seat, your right hip forward, and get your left seat bone more in the middle of the saddle. Nope, the other way. Yeah, right hip forward. Yeah, right hip a hair more forward. Good. Now, when a horse is dropping their back on the right, are you going to want to move more to the right? She didn't want to, did she? She moved the other way until I made her do this. But is he having an easier time staying up on the right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now what's happening in her back? Is she collapsing here?
She looks more equal.
Now she's more equal, right? Okay. How does this feel, Regis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember how she said to us, the pain in the right mid-back feels like it has something to do with the left hip? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just what we just saw, can you see how that could easily be the cause? Now, was that very much? Was it anything that we really would have even noticed if we weren't looking for it? And isn't it amazing how the horse was influenced by it? He's saying, I know how to make this feel better for me. I'll drop the right side. And of course, she climbs up on the left side because that's the high side, right? It's like anything else. You're not going to sit down on the low side. Yeah, that's very cool. So maybe this is happening to her on her horse, okay? And it doesn't have to be much. To be very, very, remember when we moved her around a little, how small the area where the balance is? Well, what if she's just a hair out of that because of this crookedness problem? And doing that over and over, that's going to cause, if it's causing pain, it's going to cause more and more pain. Okay? And it could also, her horse could also be doing stuff because of it that she's not correcting, and then you have an ongoing problem.